Hello, welcome back to my channel. This is Destiny Janae, aka The Chameleon Beauty. So April is Autism Awareness Month, and I'm a bit behind because today is April 14th, so I meant to share with you guys a lot of other videos, but I've been busy booking gigs and stuff like that, so that's good. But I'm going to try to share more information with you guys throughout the next 14 to 15 days. So let's jump right into it. So as someone who lives with ADHD, autism, and also raises a child with autism, my common goal is to break many stigmas and misconceptions that people may have. So being on the spectrum means many different things for many people. Autism is influenced by a combination of genetic and environmental factors. Each person with autism has a different, distinct set of strengths and challenges. So no two people are alike. The ways in which people with autism learn, think, and problem solve can range from highly skilled to severely challenged. So some people with autism spectrum disorder may require significant support in their daily lives, while others may need less support and in some cases live entirely independent. So that's the major difference. Some people say, well, what does it look like for a typical person? There's really no blueprint, no one size fits all, but you can, study different people just to see like the different dynamics. Signs of autism usually appear by age 2 or 3. It can even be diagnosed as early as 18 months. So it's important to have like early intervention because then that person can lead a completely different life rather than, finding out as an adult or even in high school or middle school. So the earlier you know, the better. Autism is often accompanied by sensory sensitivities, seizures or sleeping disorders, anxiety, depression, and attention issues. So sometimes people have autism and then something else. As I mentioned before at the beginning of the video, I have both autism and ADHD. So they go not hand in hand, but it makes sense that both of them are there. So it used to be that the 4 distinct type of autism was separate, but in 2013, the American Psychiatric Association merged all of them together. So number 1 was autistic disorder. Number 2 is childhood disintegrator disorder. 3, pervasive developmental disorder. And 4 was Asperger's syndrome. So now all of them are classified as one instead of being separate. So I'm just here to break the stigma, stereotype, and viewpoints based on the information that I know, based on research I've done. I'm by no means a medical professional, so it's always important to seek out the help of a doctor or psychiatrist and so forth. It's just me giving basic information to educate you guys. It's important to also remember that not all children and adults show the same signs. So some people will look and say, well, my child doesn't do this, or my sister doesn't do that. You can't really go based off that. You have to go get a proper diagnosis, but you can also kind of self-diagnose this to know that you have an issue or that you need to go, be checked out. So one of the most frustrating things for me that's been said to me and my son is that you don't act autistic, or they'll proceed to say, but you can read and you can write and you're smart. And it lets me know that a lot of people have the wrong idea about what autism means. It doesn't mean that you're uneducated or anything like that. Assuming that somebody has to be slow to be autistic or have any other disorder is very backwards thinking. Even things like ADHD, which means that a person is wired differently, and we are all meant to be wired differently. They used to think it meant that something was wrong, but now they figured out that it's the difference of being neurotypical or neurodivergent. Doctors have recently stopped looking at it as sort of like a curse or a sign of being out of place, but rather looking at the strengths of being neurodivergent and neurotypical. I will dive into those 2 things on my next video. I don't want to crowd the video down and just start, listing a lot of things. I want to break down each topic as best possible so that we can all understand, So professional evaluation is so important. There are children who show all the signs, and there's some that don't even show that many. Some of the signs that can be shown at any age is avoidance of eye contact, loss of previously acquired speech, babbling, or social skills, persistent preference for solitude, delayed language development, repetitive behaviors such as flapping, rocking, or spinning, which is called stemming, which I'll get into because it's something that everybody with autism does. Unusual and intense reactions to sounds, smells, taste, textures, lights, or colors, which is like sensory issues. Restricted interests, resistance to minor changes in routine or surroundings, persistent repetition of words or phrases, and difficulty understanding other people's feelings. Some people say that when they have autism, they have a hard time reading social cues. I wouldn't say that I do. I pretty much can like interpret how people are feeling in the moment. I do the stemming, and then I do have like the sensory overload thing where like it's too much sound. I have to like leave the room or leave wherever I'm at. So I try to carry around 2 separate sets of headphones so that I can block out the sound. So many boys are diagnosed very quickly, but in girls it's often harder to diagnose because girls tend to do this thing called masking. It's like we're trying to like mask what we're feeling to like navigate the world, and then we get home, we kind of release. But boys are diagnosed at a higher rate than girls because they just show the signs like automatically. And there are fewer case studies done on girls than boys. Like they do way more studies on boys with autism than they do girls. And for whatever reason, that's just the case. So hopefully they'll do more research in the future to like show people the difference. Some studies say that it has to do with race, underserved populations, people living in poverty. They don't tend to really study it. And the symptoms just tend to differ based on gender. And most of the criteria that they base it around, around diagnosing autism is based around the male studies. So that's also another issue. Often girls are misdiagnosed with other things. They think they have like ADHD, OCD, or even anorexia. Girls are often diagnosed with autism 2 years later than boys. So a whole 2 years later, people will figure out, okay, they have autism and so forth. So about 1/3 of children with ASD remain nonverbal and are diagnosed with an intellectual disability. So some people have autism and they can speak, and then some people just remain nonverbal for the rest of their life. But not everybody. For the most part, with speech therapy and like intervention, that person can talk and go on to live like a normal life, quote unquote. There have been more studies showing that children are more likely to inherit genetic mutations associated with autism from their mothers, and the reason for this is not fully understood. I kind of want to do more research because I have autism and then my son has it, and so I feel like yes, it is something that you inherit, and it must be like a primary gene that person has. Girls tend to imitate socially appropriate behaviors better than boys and have fewer behavior problems. So this is why they have a hard time diagnosing girls with autism, because that masking thing, you won't be able to fully see like that girl acting out. I remember when I was in school, I did that. I would kind of like mask and then go home and then do something else. So I can see how that would be very difficult. So this is really just a basic introduction on autism. I look forward to sharing more information as well as my experiences as well. So this is a Chameleon Beauty signing off. And remember, you can find me on all platforms under I Am Destiny Janae. I appreciate you taking the time to view this video, and bear with me because I'm not used to streaming. I'm not used to making these YouTube videos, so they will be kind of rocky. Hopefully you learned something from this video. And peace, love, and sunflowers and all the good jazz. So thank you for tuning in to my YouTube channel.